So I want to kind of preface this with the fact that I completely forgot to hit record on my last stream. So I'm gonna just kind of review really quick what I went over last time, and I finished the base. You can see like the ornament, the snowman, the metal, the lights. I even finished the rim all the way around, just kind of blacked out the rim. I think it came out pretty good. So today I wanted to move towards a couple simpler, smaller things. Got this cork handle that I 3D printed, but I want to do the snowman's head and the clock that go to the so the clock's going to go on the base back here next to all of these wires, and the snowman's head will go on top here whenever it's done. I am going to leave it loose so that way I can, you know, put it on, take it off. It's just something fun to kind of play around with. So with that, without any other fanfare or much further ado, let's go ahead and get going. So, colors. Get some clean water and a water drop bottle. Got our paintbrushes. Right. Let's go ahead and start. We're gonna need black because I want to base everything in black. Well, not everything, but I want to do the clock based in black. I like using. Come on now, there it is. I like using black with a nice dry brush. I'm also going to bring in some titanium white. Go ahead and get that on the palette. Oh. Off. Great. Those are going to be our two primary colors. Now, we do have a candy cane on this snowman's head, so we are going to grab some red. We're going to put that off to the side. We are going to need some dark silver. That's what I like to do all my dry brushing in, and then I like to come back through and do a lighter silver as an edge highlight and do some scratching and stuff like that. What else? What else do we want to do? So we do have this skull on the front. We can kind of play around with that. We do have a band. I think we're going to do the band. Not entirely sure. Let me get some reference for a moment. I do have the box art to be able to reference, and here you can see the band around the head is like a black and red checkered. Very good at checkering. I do like what they did with the skull though, so I'm probably going to do that. I know what I'm going to do there. I do need some brass. A lot of metallics, surprisingly. Annoying metallics. Okay. So we're going to do red, white, black. Alright, that'll work. So, let's just hit the ground running. We're going to go ahead and do some base coating. I'm going to grab a slightly bigger brush. Just a dot of water on the palette. And I'm sure you can kind of hear in the background, that's our washing machine kind of going through its cycle. Alright, we're going to wipe that brush. Let's grab some. And let's jump straight in. Get this typically white is pretty difficult for me to get some coverage on, but let's go ahead and get you in. So let's go full screen. But white's typically a color that I've traditionally had some problems getting good coverage on in the past. It's one of the reasons that I've really looked forward to working on this model. I actually got this model last year. My wife got it for Christmas. And when I got it, I knew immediately I was going to want to paint it around the holidays. Super, super, super excited. I've always loved Games Workshop stuff. All their sculpts and everything. The holidays just kind of add a little bit to that. Pick out. It doesn't matter if we end up going over, it's okay. Go over. We're just going to be picking out the eyes, the nose, some of the teeth, and black anyways. So being careful is not really the most important thing here. Getting that good coverage, what we're really worried about. There we go. Now I did start initially with this model having a nice zenithal highlight. Used my airbrush to add to it, but really you don't need an airbrush to get started. If you've wanted to do miniature painting, you just grab a brush. I do advocate for a wet palette though, always. Wet palettes are great. Simply because they give you more time to work on the model. Alright, let's see if we can pick out nice and easy. Now, I know I'm going to be coming back through over this hat with black, so again, it's not super, super imperative to make sure that I keep it the cleanest, but the cleaner I keep it, the less work I have to do about coming back over and over and over to fix the colors. I have had models in the past where I've had to work over the color and then play around with it and then find that sweet spot. You can kind of just hide the lines. Oh man, I should go ahead and tell you straight out. Whenever I was younger, when I first started painting 12, I was so scared to really put color on the model. Like I was afraid I was gonna ruin a couple of Gretchen. That I ended up putting the color down and then leaving massive gaps. I'll have to dig one out and show you guys one of these days. It's pretty atrocious. It definitely looks like an early 90s. Like I was terrified of messing up I don't even remember. I think I was using acrylics by then because I had just started getting the Citadel with the twist tops. Some of Some of the old hammer guys out there definitely tell you about those things. They were meant to look like a bolt shell, but they dried out so hard. Like they didn't seal for nothing. I'm glad that they kind of moved away from using that style. Just really working on getting in there. Now another thing that I'm a big fan of that I just recently started to do is something called pinning. Um, so this specific model, you can see I've got them. It's just like 1 millimeter. I think they're actually steel. It's just a paper clip. I cut that paper clip down, got all the straight edges that I could, and honestly, some of my pinning does use some of the curved edges, so it's not like I discriminate or anything like that. But I like to use pins. A standard paper clip is 1 millimeter. I got a 1 millimeter drill bit. You can kind of tell I'm not used to bouncing back and forth. Um, just used to sitting here quietly trying to like hyper focus on putting paint down. So I do apologize if I get a little scattered or kind of bounce around. I'm just talking, throwing it out there, doing what we do. But yeah, I'm glad that they moved away from the bolt shell. Oh, I got Army Painter, I believe, has a drill bit set that's really nice, and you can kind of just drill a tiny little hole. I hide it in inconspicuous places, so you can put multiple small things onto the pins. Using the painting handle is nice for complete models or full models, but if you're gonna do things in a sub assembly, you're going to do it in the sub-assembly, you can always just kind of hide where you're going to hide that pin or hide the pin where you think you can, and then just get in there and start working on it. I'm going to be working on the Gobbo and his friend in green the other day. Today is all about the Snowman. Now, again, just trying to get black on there, trying to get it. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna pick up and run with this here in a minute, and you're gonna see pretty quick transformation with how quickly this thing is gonna run away from us. How quick it's gonna start to come together. Right. So I think that's pretty good there. Now I'm doing two pieces of this model today. Mostly because I did the base last time and I put down all of the white, and oh man, I had to sit here and just wait. It was a painful lesson in patience. We can get some more white on here. Switched it up and I'm using a nicer paintbrush. This is a sable brush. Something to get in there, get it layered down. A whole bunch come through. Really, really want this good white coverage. Once we get that coverage on there, we're going to come back through. We're going to hit this with some blue. Yeah. There we go. You know, doesn't that look Doesn't that coverage look great? That white pops compared to that candy cane. Come back through. We're going to hit that candy cane. It is going on just a hair thicker than I think I usually like it, but it's okay. Again, we're going to be coming back through with black. So better to tidy it up with black than to try to get that extra coverage with white, because let me tell you, that will drive you insane. Absolutely insane. All right. So I think with that, our clock is pretty dry. So what I want to do is I actually want to put a nice white face on there, and I'm going to be a little bit more conservative with paint that I'm using. We're going to have to do a couple of coats. We're going to see all of it start coming together. That's one of, I think, one of my favorite parts about painting is you start putting things on, you start putting the colors on, you really like it looks like garbage, it looks like garbage, it looks like garbage, and then out of nowhere you're just like, oh wow, that looks pretty good. So with that, I am going to go through and I am going to drop some white down on this skull looking dude. Start picking it out for its color. Leave the eye black. Now, I do have a magnifying glass and stuff like that that I could use, but I kind of don't want to right now. I'm just enjoying picking out the colors, picking out the spot that I want to cover, the nice base, just tiny little paint here, tiny little bit of paint there. Everything comes together nicely. That bit more. No rush. No rush. Just a nice little thick. Scribble it in. We don't want to do anything too dramatic because we don't want to fill in the eyes by accident. We don't want to end up getting too far ahead of ourselves. Nice out. A little touch here, a little scratch there. The fact that miniature painting is so relaxing is what gets me every time. And honestly, I like to go for as realistic as possible, but honestly, I probably could try other art styles. Something like a nice cell shading or something like that. Like, that sounds really cool. I, I'm sure I would enjoy the heck out of that. But right now, still still got lots to learn, still moving forward with doing it as real as possible. See somebody joined. Hello, welcome. We are painting the red Gobbo's Abominable Snowman from 2024. I'm just going inside of the rim of the clock. Not a super pressing spot. It's just to make sure I add some shadow up in there. Try to knock out some of that gray. See a little gray in there. Let's go ahead and just push a little bit of black. That out. All right. So we've got our white, we've got our black. I even got that skull on the front with just a hint of texture. Just a little preface of texture, so you can see. A little bit rougher on the hat. That's on purpose. We're going to be pulling that down some. Before we do any more on that snowman, I would like go ahead and we're gonna get some of this glacier. I like using this. I like thinning it down for snow. Just giving it a nice gentle wash. So I'm gonna grab my brush. I'm just gonna dip this in here. And you can see I got kind of just a glob of it in there. I'm gonna hit wet palette with a small drop of water. And then go ahead and make our light wash. See that? See how transparent that is? That's going to be fantastic for a nice, like, Christmas wash. So watch what happens. So here we go. Run this over. See how it's filling in all of the little spots, the little points. I'm going to want to starting at the top and pulling it down. Because I want to more at the bottom than I want to do at the top. It's going to give it a much more dramatic shadow effect if I leave the blue a little darker inside those recesses down here. All the way at the bottom. Just do a regular brush stroke on the outside. There we go. That's pretty good. Just going to come back through and grab just a little bit more. See if I can touch the bottom here and there. Now, one thing I do want to highlight is you can see the mold line on this. Whenever I put this together, I was just super excited to get it together, and it press fit here. I could have spent a lot more time working that mold line out. I did get it out of the top of the hat pretty well, but that mold line there is going to bother me for probably ever. But you know, it's just it's a model that I'm probably not going to feel too much, but I am going to I'm just having fun painting it. So why not? Go ahead while we're waiting on that to dry. I do want to add, let me see, how do I want to do this? Let's go ahead and we're just going to jump straight into the dry brush now. One thing I like to use for dry brush, if you go to like any standard store or anything like that, like some of the dry brushes that you can buy at a game store are very nice. This is a makeup brush. Makeup brushes are super soft. It's going to feel just like a dry brush. The bonus is if you get a makeup brush, just the right one, you can get it two-sided, or you can get a 2-pack of two-sided. So I've got a whole bunch of different dry brushes that I have at my disposal. Even something like this where I can get really targeted dry brushing. nice sharp edge, or nice blunt fan, which I'm going to be using this fan. But if you get something like this, it's typically a lot cheaper. It's not bad. It cleans just the same as any other acrylic brush. Use some master soap and you're good to go. So let's go ahead and we're gonna just go in. We're gonna grab some silver. Doesn't have to be a lot. We're just gonna work this in now, and I will show you what I'm doing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just beat this into my dry brush, and then I'm gonna just go ahead and drag it, drag it, drag it, drag it until it looks like nothing comes off. You can't even see it. See? Nothing. Maybe just a very light sheen. If I hold it just right, you can kind of see some of the silver in the bristles, right? So let's go ahead and we're going to start on the bottom. We're going to just drag it around, drag it around, drag it around. Because the light is going to be hitting it from up here, I'm going to drag it around all the way around on top. And then I'm going to start bringing it down. Bringing it down all the way around. See that transformation? And because we're just dragging it from top to bottom, we're not doing nothing crazy. Don't need to go full tilt. Just a nice entry of metal. So because we did that, look at that. Look at how much different that looks compared to what I was starting with. I even managed to get, because I went so light with the dry brush, it highlighted this dent, but it still has that recess. I think that looks pretty good. We are going to be adding some color to this clock, so I mean, don't worry. I'm going to try to get the back of this clock just a little bit more dramatic, because that very, very, very far back is going to stay a silver, but the body of this clock is going to be red. That's why I'm not too worried about how it's going to come across. All right, so now we can rinse our dry brush. We are done dry brushing this. I should say we're done dry brushing this side. There is one other thing I want to dry brush, and it's going to be this snowman's head. Because I want to come through and I want to pick out all of these raised spots and just add that texture back. When I do, and I'm going to use this smaller one, so that way I can get right in here, dry brush, just pull down, pull down, pull down. It's gonna look phenomenal. It's gonna add all that snow texture back, but it's gonna keep all of the blue inside those recesses, and it's gonna help sell this blue snow effect. So let's finish drying that. We can set that down. Let's go ahead and we're gonna switch gears again, and we're gonna go to red. We're gonna get that clock done. Believe it or not, we are just about halfway done. If not just a little bit more. A little bit of water. And actually, for my liking, that's probably too much water. So I'm gonna, that's it. That's what I want right there. So something that's slightly more opaque than a wash. It's gonna have a little bit better color, but it's not so thick. Acrylics can come pretty thick. So watering them down is gonna be your best bet. Let's get in here and get to it. So I'm going to try to hold this in a way that you can see, but see this rim right around the outside? I got that nice and dark and then dry brushed it. We want to try to pick out all the other colors around it and leave that very front. Means I'm going to be working this in very slowly. Now, if I do this right, it's going to have this metallic undertone. while having a tint of red. It's going to look great. Might take a couple of coverage or a couple passes, but honestly, it's worth it. So let's try to get. This is always the hardest part. Trying to find something to brace onto when you have nothing to brace onto. Now, the bottom, I'm not too terribly worried about the bottom because the bottom is going to be sitting on the base. So it'll be fine. Let's see. Right up in here. There we go. I may have hit that back more than I wanted to. It is fine. That just means I'll probably go ahead and do full coverage over the back. Not what I wanted, but honestly, it's gonna look still pretty decent. See? Okay, so let's get here. Almost there. We'll see if we need to do another pass. Pretty sure another pass. If I end up running over onto there, onto the clock face where I don't want to put the red, it's fine. I actually have a highlight I'm going to be using. Just my preference is to not. But hey, sometimes you just gotta roll with it, right? What whatever happens and just see if you can. Now, my brush is starting to split, and it's because it's losing moisture outside of it. It happens. Honestly, the best way to mitigate that would be to go ahead and rinse, load it with more color, keep going. Would be the preferred method, but let's face it, I'm pretty stubborn. I actually saw one painting earlier. I just caught it by mistake almost, where this guy was working on. I don't know if it was a guy or a lady. I'm so sorry, but this artist was working on this rock face, and I swear to Lord, that thing looked so real. I was a little jealous. I was just sitting there looking at it, going, "That's insane." So we're definitely aiming for something to that effect. So let's see. Let's go ahead and see about it's dry. Oh yeah, that's nice and dry. Let's get some white up in here. I'm actually going to grab quite a bit of white on my dry brush. Work it in. Work it. There you go. So again, imperceptible amounts of white. Just going to take this, drag down. Do it right. But don't drag all the way down. You also don't want to go all the way up. You're just trying to highlight top to bottom, pull, because I still want some of the blue to peek through underneath and in shadows. And so, I mean, like underneath here, I'm not going to mess with that. I'm just going to kind of let it ride. But see how much better that looks? If I can get this to focus, I swear. see, look at that. It's got some of the blue. It's got a lot of blue tint to it, but when you're looking at it directly on, it's got a lot of white. I don't like that. Let's try to give that a little bit more. There we go. Okay. That's nice. Rinse that dry brush off. Alright, we are just about into detail range, which is my favorite part. So, now I'm going to use, I have a size 0 sable brush, and I'm going to use this to pick out some eyes. Put it up a little bit more. If we do it right, thin enough coat on there, it should just give us this nice coal, like this nice gray that I'm going for. Look at that. Oh man, I gotta load this brush up a little bit better. Let's go ahead and add some water into it. Maybe that's my problem. It's just not flowing the right way. There we go. Yeah, that was the ticket. There we go. It's black. Picking that out. Nice and easy. Now, one of these teeth are going to be brass, and it's this one right here. Going to have to be a little bit more careful with that one, so that way I get good coverage. I don't want the brass to look uneven. All coming together. See, there we go. Look at those. Maybe tidy up this big eye. There's an awful lot of white still peeking out the bottom. Here we go. And I like to and just there we go. See? Nice and blocked in. Do want to go back to my size 1 or 2. Number 2. So let's, sorry about that. We're going to grab some more black. And we're going to come over here to this hat now. Tidy that up. Oh, come on. Need a little bit more thicker black than that. I base coated this, or whenever I gave it that zenithal highlight with my airbrush, I did my best to avoid the hat so that way I wouldn't have to fight with it so hard. But putting a little bit more black down is really a great idea. Easy. There's no need. Nice and slow. You know it. All right. Okay, so we've got that. We've got some color added. I'm going to go through and I'm gonna get some scratching done when it comes to the clock. I do like to do a little bit highlighting here, scratching some of the paint off from different elements of the you know what? I do see something I want to just go ahead and do that in white. That's probably a little thick, but it'll be okay. That's called being lazy. That's all that is, but it'll work out. So, we're done with Glacier. Let's go ahead and clean up some of our paints as we're going through. We're just gonna see what we can do. I do have this red. Now I'm trying to figure out, should I go a darker, or I'm sorry, not darker, but should I do another pass with red to brighten it up, or should I leave it a really, really dark looking? Do think I am gonna come. No, I actually really like that. I like that color. It's kind of a maroon, like super dark red. See that? I like that. I like how that looks. I'm gonna roll with that. Now, the one thing I think I am nervous about is that candy cane. Um, I am not good at crisp lines, so we're gonna see what we can do with that. All, all in good time, I guess. So, do need. Well, look at that. As I'm sitting here, kind of glancing everything over, I realized that this tooth still needs a little bit of attention. Sometimes things are going to fight you, some things will. There we go. That looks better. Sometimes the paintbrush will slip on you, sometimes it'll give you some problems. You're just gonna have to just try your best not to fight it, honestly. I don't want to say don't fight it, because you absolutely can. You can keep going back over it, you can keep adjusting it and adjusting it and making sure it does exactly what you want it to do. But honestly, like just feel it out and it'll be fine. All right, so what should we do now? We're done with Iron Breaker. Put that back. We're not done with red. We're not done with silver, and we definitely still have that. Honest. All right, let's mix some paint. Let's take some white, a little bit of white, put it over here, and we're gonna grab a dot of black. What we're gonna do is we're gonna just make nice thin gray. Just a nice neutral gray. Something we can work with. Man, that almost disappears on my wet palette. That is how neutral that is. Let me try it on here. Oh yeah, that's perfect. See that? A nice opaque gray that I'm scratching onto there. That'll work nicely. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to use this. Just kind of pick out, highlight our coal. Goal is to go nice and light, but you know what? Sometimes Chris just has other plans. See, that's rough. Now another way around it that you can do is just make sure that you use the side of your brush. That would give you kind of what you're looking for. I am going to do less of edge highlight and more of an edge stipple. right, and then when that dries, that'll kind of normalize. That's one of the things that I've noticed whenever it comes to acrylics. In, let me see, 20 some odd years that I've been painting off and on, maybe, I want to say maybe about 5 years if you total it all out. So for 25 years off and on, I did spend some time in the military, so didn't paint as much in when I was in as I would have liked to, but darken that for the hat. But while I was in, I did get to paint every once in a while. Some of the best, like most peaceful time I think I had while I was in. But in all of the times that I've painted total, I want to say maybe about 5 years. So it's taken me quite a bit of time just to kind of get to a comfort point where I felt like I was making progress. So it does take time, but one of the things that I think I noticed as I was painting, as long as you don't take yourself too serious, uh, learn from the mistakes, like look forward to the mistakes almost, you're going to find painting a whole lot more enjoyable. Again, I'm kind of just doing this edge stipple, and for the hat, reasoning is it's a worn hat. It's gonna have wear on it. It's gonna have some unevenness to it. It's gonna look scratched or rough. Let's go ahead and just put some scratches in it. Let's make it look rough. Let's wear it out a little bit. It is a black top hat. So just give it a little bit of character there. It's not too bad. It's subtle, but when you're looking at it in, up close or in person, it's definitely there. It adds some extra depth to it. Let's see. How do I want to do this? I do want to do the skull on the front, but trying to debate, do I want to do wash or do I want to just kind of come through, put a bone layer on it? I think we know where we're going with this. We're going bone. Just a hint. And in fact, I'm not even going to worry about dropping any paint on there. I'm just going to go ahead and pull some into my brush, and then we're going to go in here. We're going to start picking some of this lighter color, some of this white. Now, because I already went through and put some lines and texture underneath, when this dries, it's going to be really, really, again, subtle, but it's going to stand out a little bit more. All about layer. What you do underneath is going to influence what you do each individual almost this side. Can you tell? I think I'm dragging my feet on painting this candy cane. So there we go. See how, again, whenever it dries a little bit more, it's really going to stand out. I've honestly found when you go through and you focus on, say, if you wanted to do a nice zenithal and then use a dry brush, put that, do a base black, do a dry brush, and then you come back through, and I think this will be a good one. Nope, no, not him. Let me find a model that'll be really nice for this example. Yeah, this one. So whenever you get a nice zenithal highlight, it's actually going to influence how all of your other colors, even metallics, come through. Like this was part of a zenithal. This, you can see the texture in the metal that I went through and added. And in order to do all of that, and I like my true metallics, that's why everything's true metallic and dirty down, build it up, break it down. But what I end up doing is I'll end up basing everything in black, using a dry brush to come down and really focus on certain parts, put down the metallics, like I'll dry brush it, a nice metallic, but then I come back through and make almost a black wash and put it down over. So that way all the recesses like here get nice and dark. But then you also end up with it some pulling up in some areas where you can kind of just come back through and scratch in some metal, and then I come back through with my rust. Like it involves like 5, 6, 7 layers of just different things, but those layers really just keep building up and building up and building up, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. Is if you just keep building up and building up and building up, what you put underneath is going to influence what you have on top, right? So leave it's dry. So now we can come back through and do just a nice little wash. And I don't need to use my little brush for a wash. That's madness. All right, let's use my number 2. Let's put a dot of paint down. Let's grab some wash. And again, I like to dilute most of my washes because if you do it straight up, it's just going to be so strong. You'll see if you do it the first few times. We're just going to come back through. I'm not overly concerned with just dragging my brush. What I want to do really is I want to just touch it because again, don't want to fill in any of the dark spots. Here's a nice pro tip. You end up with paint somewhere where you don't want it, clean off your brush really fast, come back through, soak it up. See? Boom. All done. So that skull is coming along. I will be adding some additional highlights of that I think it's Morghast bone, and then we're gonna do something special with that eye right there. I think I know exactly what I want to do. We're gonna do a little rose gold um, color shift with that eye, so that way it kind of pulls this in. I absolutely love this ornament that's on here. It's a color shift with a blue violet. So every time, everywhere that the light hits it, it's super, super shiny. And honestly, I know I can't get it on the camera because it's pretty unidirectional. I think it looks more blue for you. For me, it actually looks violet. Um, I just can't get it to do that for you. I can't get it to go violet for you because again, it's perspective based. So but it's this super hyper metallic. I love the color shifting. It's a Vallejo color shift. I like to use these. Do not put color shift, metallics, or anything like that on your wet palette. I actually back here I'm using a ice cube. It's a full silicone ice cube tray. I put my metallics on, and then when I'm done, they just kind of come right off. See, and then you can just throw it away. It's a super easy clean. And I like this one. I got it from I think Home Goods. You can just if you're using any paint or anything like that and you want to seal it, it does come with that lid. That lid's super nice as kind of a flat palette as well. So I do tend to leave paint stored in there and it stays wet. So far, I think I'm up to 3 weeks and it's still wet, so that's not bad. All right, so we are we're just about there. So I do want to let's just go ahead and get some red while we're here. We're going to red down, grab some water, thin it down, but not too thin. See, that's nice and opaque. We are going to work on this. Squeeze a little bit more out. I want it to be a little bit thinner. Start on the back. Go ahead and just do this ribbon around the top of the hat. Oof, I don't like that. There we go. Let's just grab a little bit. It's wanting to run off the brush a little hard on me. That's more than I wanted to run. Now, because the hat is black, we will have the opportunity of coming back through. Honestly, this probably should have been part of my basing run. Work with what you got, I guess. And for whatever reason, I just didn't want to do it yet. So that is going to require me to come back through and do some cleanup. That is my fault. Some more paint. This side. Oop. Helps if I actually hold it in. It used to be a lot worse. Every time I'd go to paint, I'd just like pull it straight up to my face and then nobody would see anything for half the video. There we go. I do like this because it is also going to pair well with that clock. Dark red. There it is. All right. So that'll require a little cleanup. You know, sometimes just takes it. So it's no worries. So we'll wait for that to dry, and we're actually gonna pivot. We're gonna go to a brighter silver, and we're gonna work on this clock. Now I am using Pro Acryls like straight silver, so it is very, very bright. Most of the time when it comes to like highlighting or working with a metallic, I do still very much advocate for use water. Water it down just a little bit. It doesn't have to be completely soaked, but just give it something. Um, because it's still an acrylic and it still wants to just run away. But if you're doing a highlight, come on guys, there it is. If you're doing a highlight, then you really just get away with a nice little bit in just that very edge. And with it watered down, it'll hold its transparency a little bit better. It'll give you just the most subtle scratches, things you could ever hope for. Straight, and it's just silver on silver, so it's just gonna really amp it up a little bit for you. A little bit of highlighting where the light is definitely gonna hit it. Some edge in there. Around. Still want to leave it a little dirty. It'll just add to that effect. Gives it this nice texture and this nice contrast. Watering it down makes doing little screws and nuts and subtle little scratches. I like to go through and pick out some scuffs, things, chips. Feel a little bit more real. Little extra. Just a little bit extra detail. Really pop. It makes it come around that part moment where you're putting paint on it and get to a point where you kind of look at it and just step back and go, wow, that looks pretty real, pretty interesting. See, I don't know how well you can see the clock, but it's just about there. I've got the little scratches in the back, dense dings, little scratches on the bells. Very, very minor scratches. One thing I do want to do is I have clock hands here. I am going to come in, give them a whole bunch of bright silver. It's nice. And what's a clock without a clock face? We are literally in like the end game of this clock. It's pretty great. So we just need to do a little notch there, little notch over here. See, look at that. Just little touches here, little details there, and it all comes together. So that clock, I'm gonna call that done. I like it. Now, let's go ahead and lean into my nightmare and just see if we can. Nope, I'm still gonna drag my feet. I know I keep playing up this playing up this candy cane and can't seem to get there. More here. That's my phone yelling at me. Hang on. Come on, connect. What have I done? There we go, we're back. Okay. So sorry about that. My alarm went off trying to tell me it was a specific time. And we're just about done. Alright. I'm going to come through and see about cleaning up the hat. Just with a little bit of black. Little bit of black. Jeez. Right, so let's. Here, here. Sorry. I was doing it again. Right. You're just about there with this hat as well. I like it when cleanup's an easy task. So, almost there. All we're missing is some brass. So let's go ahead and just get that out. We're missing brass, the eye, and a candy cane. And that is it. And I have no faith that I'm going to be able to do this candy cane well, but let's, let's just lean into it and get it done. Now there's one method that I haven't tried And honestly, I haven't tried it because it always just seems so daunting. Is non-metallic metal. Never done it before. Always just seemed. See, look at that. Nice. Um, it's always just seemed like it was right outside of my comfort zone, and I'm sure non-metallic metal looks phenomenal, but I gotta say, I think I like the metallics more simply because when you're looking at it, it really catches your eye. It really catches the natural light versus trying to rely on OSL too much. That being said, one of these days I will be trying it and I will be seeing what that's all about. Almost there. So we'll let that dry. While that's drying, before we put a second coat down, let's grab our little paintbrush and might as well go ahead and just lean into this and see if we can get this done. Okay. Okay. Freehand's never been my never been a strength. Oh, that one slid. Oh, that's unfortunate. All in all, I mean, I almost got it. My finger slid on the last one and got all jumbled up. And with white, that is not going to be an easy thing to fix. So Yeah. Maybe if you squint and look really far away, it'll look nice. But still working on freehand. That is just a weakness that I haven't overcome yet. Right? We just want one more solid. And there we go. They're done. So with that, let's just go ahead and get this down. Get this guy off. Just set him on the base. See, look at that. Get that different texture, but it kind of blends in with that metal. It's that dark red helps hold the accent against the red cabling, and the light, which is bright red. Like, I like it. Let's see if we can get this snowman's head off. Set that right there. Coming together. All we have left now is just two guys. Gobbo and the red Gobbo, I should say. And his little friend whom I don't know the name. But that's it. We are done. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for watching and kind of going through all of the different steps with me. It's been an absolute blast. I can't wait to catch you in the next one. We are going to work on this guy. And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna. So we are going to work on this guy next. Thursday is Thanksgiving, so I don't know if I'm going to be painting Thursday, but we'll definitely be painting. So I will catch you on the next one.